him. It's the funniest thing. You look at him and you don't expect that
What
from
was
him.
the term we used last time? Jogo Benito, Phil Foden. It's got to, it's got to stick. It's got to stick with the way he played
Phil,
today.
Phil Foden is a player from the streets. Like that's exactly what that means. Like he is from the streets when you look at him play. Like he was playing in the favelas in Brazil, and now he's playing at the Etihad. Like
The favelas in Brazil, they were just like, what is this guy doing here? And he's just out.
Stockport.
The Stockport favelas, that's what's happening. It's crazy because I mean, Salim, did you see the free kick as well before you went
oh,
to
that
watch?
was
Because
shocking.
Yeah, so yeah, that's really when like it fell apart for me. We've had like seven of our main players out, and went 1-0 down, and then when we fought back 1-1, and you think if we go in at halftime level, maybe we can get something from this. I really wanted a point, and then you just concede like that is the worst way to just gift a goal. I don't know what we were playing so well as a unit, defensively and managing Man City. They do play a lot better, sort of on the floor without Haaland in the team, which was expected. With Julian Alvarez coming in, and we played well. They played well. It was a good game. We looked dangerous on the break. When we were getting forward, we looked quite good. We were committing numbers, and you kind of think to yourself, you know what, we've got a chance to get something here. And then you just gift something like the wall just breaks apart. He's got nothing to do with the keeper. Emi Martinez missed out today, and Olsen had such a good game, I thought. And I don't know. It's just like why gift them something so easy? Like the first goal they scored was such a good move. You could even see it coming, and then that it just hurts. And Zaniolo had a good game as well. To be fair to him.
I'm looking at that Aston Villa defense, and we spoke about it on the weekend, Sarah and I. So I wanted to get your thoughts on why is Pau Torres on the bench all of a sudden for Longley? I need to hear about that from your point of view, Salim. Is it better for the team? Is it the fact that he's not
No,
right mentally? What's happening there?
no, I don't think it's mentally or anything. Maybe injuries. He's just come back from a layoff, then he got injured by being rushed back, and now I think they want to take time with him. I think, but to be fair to Longley, he wasn't that bad,
Mm.
and it's just hard. Like you're missing that many players. I don't think missing Torres was like the factor. Like he does improve us, but Longley had a decent game. I feel like it's all about if, isn't it? But if you go in at 1-1, it does give you a better chance to get something at the end of it.
Yeah,
But
I'm
then it's
looking
like
at it.
how long would you be able to restrict Man City? Second half we came out. I watched it literally just before we conceded that third goal, and I thought we were decent there. Diaby had a few good runs. Louise had a chance where maybe he should have scored, but it's always going to be hard to get something there missing that many players.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking you have so many players missing from the team, but you're still giving Manchester City a proper fight up until that third goal, I would say as well. Sarah, what was your thoughts on the games between Manchester City and Aston Villa from your point of view?
Yeah, I agree with Salim too. Like off to a good start. Yeah, they went down, but then they came back and they showed promise. And this is a very rotated side. They have most of their starters. What you said, 7 out of the 11 are injured. Obviously, Ollie Watkins, massive debut, of course. There's so many missing pieces here, and for them to still hold City for that, the first half of the first half was great. But I think this is where City is just a level above everyone in the Premier League, not just Aston Villa, but Arsenal, but Liverpool as well, because City played a somewhat rotated side as well. They have injuries in the back with Kyle Walker, with Nathan Ake. KDB didn't play, Holland didn't play. Yet they're still playing. Their second team is still superstars. Yeah, of course. Rodri was still there, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden. They had some starters, but Julian Alvarez is starting, Grealish is starting, Doku, Rico, Lewis. Like it's just you look at this team and you're still thinking this is an amazing squad still, and that's the difference between City and everyone. And it's not Villa's fault. It's just this is City, and City, especially when they need to win games, they win games, especially at the Etihad. After that 0-0 draw to Arsenal, they know this month is going to be so crucial for them, and this is the time where I think we're going to see City and Arsenal and Liverpool that space start to happen.
Definitely. Salim, I need to get your thoughts on your boy, or your ex-boy, I should say, Jack Grealish, who had a very subdued game today from what I saw as well. I mean, he had a few fouls against him as well. He's getting back into the first team. We spoke on the weekend, Sarah and I, about the fact that they've no longer got Riyad Mahrez and Ilkay Gundogan. They haven't got that experience of what they have for the title running as they previously had. Do you see something coming for Jack Grealish in terms of him taking a bit more ownership on that left-hand side for Manchester City and maybe getting back into the England squad as well for the summer? What do you think, Salah?
I think he needs to. To be honest, I feel like this is a chance for him. You saw what happened to him on the weekend, and you saw his reaction to what happened to him. Getting told off by Pep. He couldn't handle it at all. You could tell that he was kind of saying to him like, "Oh, let's do it in the changing room or something." But like let's just do it behind. I don't want to get told off here, but it's a
Publicly
chance for
shamed
him
he
now.
was. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, you could tell by his face, and this is a chance for him to prove that he is that guy. But I don't know, like he's not on that Foden level for me. Like he wants to be that sort of Foden like level of player for Man City, but he isn't. But he's got a chance to prove if he is or not. But let's see what happens. This is probably there's some importance to him in this running, but I think Guardiola prefers Doku. In all honesty, obviously, just depends on what side each of them play.
Yeah, I mean, Doku was on the right hand side today. He had a good game against Luca Digne, who was at left
Mm.
back for Aston Villa today as well. But final thoughts on Manchester City, Sarah. I need to kind of know, do you really see Phil Foden being the main man in this running in the midfield for Manchester City? Because Kevin De Bruyne is in and out, and I'm really excited to see what Kevin De Bruyne will be bringing this time around because I don't want him to get injured at all. We said on the weekend there's a certain team in this title race we don't want to be at the top, which would be good fun as well. So I'm gonna have to ask you, Sarah. Midfield general, who's it going to be in the title run for Man City? Phil Foden or Kevin De Bruyne?
Has to be KDB, and it's just the way it is. Like KDB is just he's just that guy. He's been that guy for them for a couple of years now. Like he's proven himself. He has a bit more experience. He has the maturity. We know he has the talent. Like never forget when he came back from injury in January and scored like 2 minutes into that match. Like that is KDB. So for me, it's a matter of getting them both into the squad, and Guardiola's been good at doing that. But I don't think you say it's one or the other, and I don't think that just because KDB is still your guy, and also Rodri. Like I mean, when you think of the midfield at Man City, I think those two come to mind immediately. But for me, I still think Phil Foden will get his flowers at the end of the season, regardless of what happens to Man City, because everyone is recognizing the talent that, this youngster has. And it's only going to continue at the Euros. Even if England don't win, you can't tell me that Phil Foden isn't going to be starting every single match and probably playing great football.
Yeah, I would say so as well. I mean, I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited to see Phil Foden shine for England, and I'm so passionate about seeing him in the central role. But it's about what Gareth Southgate does. It's about if they're all going to be fit and if they're all going to be playing. But at this moment in time, I don't really see Jack Grealish getting into this England side from what I've seen this season as well. Salim, before you drop off, I need to get your thoughts on Aston Villa for the top four run-in as well. I know he's hiding on the camera, but he'll get back to us in a second or so. But with Aston Villa, they are looking quite good in this top four race. And for them to take out, I think they've played Manchester City twice as well. We talked about the running recently as well. They're going to have a good time, I think, Aston Villa against the rest of the games that they've got as well. I'll wait for Sam to get back on. But again, from my point of view, Aston Villa are looking like a top four shoe-in. Salim, what do you think? Aston Villa for top four? You still backing it?
Yeah, I still think so. I've looked at the running quite a few times. I've run the permutations, like multiple times as well. And
You and
I don't
Hugo,
know,
yeah? You and Hugo looking at the computer, like Charlie Day,
yeah,
that meme.
supercomputer, yeah, yeah, he just walks on it.
I love it.
Um, I don't know, man. Like we're 2 points clear. Their game in hand is Man City, so they'll probably lose that. Where we've both got to play Liverpool and both got to play Arsenal as well. But they're playing teams that are, fighting relegation. And the way I've worked it out is we'll get 12 points and Spurs will get about 10, 11. So we'll still be too clear of that. So I think we'll get it.
And the last question
But
before I know you've got to leave as well. If Unai Emery does get you into the top four, is he a shoe-in for manager of the season, or will it be whoever wins the Premier League? Because that's what Sarah and I were discussing on the weekend as well. Is Unai Emery a
yeah,
contender for manager of the season for you?
I'd say like outside the cartel, yeah. And Watkins
Top
for
six
PFA Player of the
cartel.
Year. But
One of the
in the
members of the
cartel,
cartel is in 11th, so it's going to be a very, very, very bad cartel if it happens to be the case.
yeah, but that's it.
One may finish in 8th, which will be the case for Man United as well, which is great. But Salim, I know you've got to drop off as well. Thank you very much for joining
No
and enjoy
worries.
the rest of your Ramadan, which will be good fun indeed.
No worries. Take care. Bye.
Say hi to Hugo for me.
No worries.
I miss him. But yeah, moving on to the Arsenal game against Luton. This was a very, very comfortable game for Arsenal. I was looking at it from the first half as well. And I'm thinking they are resting some players. They had some injury problems as well. I was really impressed with Tomiyasu at left back. I thought he should be a shoe-in for the next game. I know they were looking at some of these players like Kyrgios starting against Man City, and the internet was going crazy on the
Yeah.
weekend of four centre backs versus four centre backs. I was like, this is not what we need to see in football. But it wasn't that bad from a defensive point of view from Arsenal as well. But what were your thoughts on the Arsenal game against Luton? Just a comprehensive win from your point of view, Sarah?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like you mentioned, some changes here, some necessary changes, because as we know, 2 games a week right now, it's gonna be a lot on these players. So they have to rotate. Keeping Gabriel and Saliba is probably your best bet. I mean, Saliba didn't have the best game today, but still managed with them and Raya in the back. They kept a clean sheet. But some other changes that were necessary, with the ongoing unsure injuries of Saka and Martinelli. I think it's great that they didn't play. They didn't need to. And yeah, I mean, maybe if this was at Kenilworth Road, Luton has done some great things there, but it's at the Emirates. It's against Arsenal. Pretty standard here. Nothing against Luton, but I think the bigger story is that Arsenal, like City, have now also played their second match, after their 0-0 draw and won. And it is just ramping up to be the best title race we may see in, I don't know, it could be in our lifetime right now. I mean, it's just feeling like it's going to come down to the last day. And as a neutral, I hope it does. But the scenes would be diabolical almost.
I was thinking the last time we saw 3 teams genuinely going until the final day of the season, the final day, was around 2000 and was it 2000? Was it 2000? No, it wasn't. I'm trying to think. It may have been like the early 2000s as well, because normally
That's
it'll go to match day 35 or match day 36 and then it's done. Or maybe it goes to 2 teams to the final day, like we've seen with Manchester United, Manchester City and Liverpool as well. But 3 teams for the final day, like you said, it's genuinely unheard of in terms of how they're going to go. And no one's blinking as of yet. And Liverpool tomorrow, Sheffield United at home, which seems like the most easiest comprehensive win for Jurgen Klopp this season. But as the Premier League happens, there's always peaks and troughs for everyone. And maybe Sheffield United are coming into Liverpool thinking, let's try and steal a point at least as well, which would be a big thing as well. I don't think it's going to happen, but with Mikel
at
Arteta
Anfield,
at Anfield as well. Yeah, forget about it. Forget about it, which would be the case. But no, back to Mikel Arteta as well, Sarah. We're talking about how he's rotating his team as well, but I wanted to get your point of view in terms of, has there been a certain change from him this season in terms of maturity that you've seen off the pitch as well? Because normally you're seeing him always complaining to the officials, complaining to the press, but I think now, because he's in the title race, there's a lot more maturity in his management style and in his approach to the media as well, from my point of view anyway. What would you have to say about that, Sarah?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think Mikel Arteta gets a lot of shtick from you guys. And when I say you guys, I mean over in the UK, because
I thought you just meant brown people, so I was taking it as offense. So that was it.
yeah, that would be me. No,
Nah,
but
I would have accepted it as well. It would have been the case. But in England, the whole thing about managers is, for some managers, it's okay, apparently, in the
that's
media.
why. Like,
Jurgen
Klopp
Klopp.
is allowed to do whatever he wants. And that's fine. I don't care. I'm not a Liverpool fan. Do what you want. But when Arteta does the same thing, everyone goes after him. And I'm like, all right, let's pick and choose here. Like, I mean, let's not pick and choose. It's like either they're all going to be crazy and dramatic and emotional, or they're all not. But it seems like Arteta was getting a lot more shtick from the English fans, whether they're Arsenal fans or not. And we see, Guardiola can get so sarcastic in interviews. He also can be very dramatic on the side. We have Jose Mourinho, maybe the most iconic manager in terms of reactions. And no one's saying anything about him because he's the special one. So I think it was kind of unfair for Arteta, because I'm like, yeah, but he's also like, he's a bit younger too. Well, I mean, he's actually, in fact, a lot younger. He's closer to the game, in my opinion, that I think maybe it's hard for him to still separate manager from player, because it wasn't too long ago that he was a manager. But I think, yeah, he showed some more maturity, and whether that's because it's actual maturity or he just doesn't want to hear everyone complain about him, either way, it's doing well for him, and he's learning, or he's just trying to make everyone shut up.
Yeah,
But
it's true.
you notice the maturity in this team overall, including him. But we spoke about that on the weekend after that City game. There was a lot of maturity around this Arsenal side. And it's great to see, because this is it. We are in the thick of it right now.
It's going to be a great title race. And with Mikel Arteta, he will want to avoid any banana peels that he had last time around with the Southampton game and the West Ham game last season. And we looked at the run-in as well on the weekend. The fact that the Man United game, the second to last game at Old Trafford may be the biggest banana peel left away from home as well. And actually, you've got the Spurs game that's coming
I
up
was
as
going to
well.
say, I'd say the North London derby would trump Man United because Man United this season, we know, but a derby is always just you cannot call that. You cannot assume anything. And at that point as well, because that I'm just looking at the schedule, that's 5 matches away right now in the Prem. Where is Tottenham going to be? Where are City and Liverpool going to be? That could be the game where Tottenham just say, all right, we might not make fourth, but let's make sure they don't win. Like, this is a hatred.
This is
Liverpool,
a painful hatred.
yeah. So, I mean, it could be Tottenham might just want to win because it might not even mean anything to them, but they just want to make sure Arsenal don't win. So it's hard to say, but I think that could be the defining moment for sure. But listen, Wolves at home is going to be tough. They have to play Brighton away. They have to play Villa at home. Like, it's not easy. These aren't easy games. There's no Sheffields. There's no, Burnleys, Nottingham maybe. Like, it's tough.
They've got no Chelsea as well either. I think they've got Chelsea.
No, they have Chelsea. They have Chelsea at the Emirates before Spurs. Yeah, no, Arsenal's schedule is really difficult. But City's is quite similar from what I remember. They also have to play Villa, Wolves, Brighton.
Played Villa today, so yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Chelsea in the FA Cup final. I'm so here for it because like every game matters. And like you were talking with Salim, even just the top 3 is intense, but that run for 4th place between Villa and Spurs is going to be just as entertaining, in my opinion.
I agree. We've got a comment here as well from Cairo who said, Villa fan here, quite proud of the squad this season, considering we played most of our kids as like 50% of our players are injured. You're absolutely right. A lot of injuries have affected Aston Villa this season, and for them to be still in within a chance of 4th position, big credit to Unai Emery and big credit to the players as well. And with Aston Villa going against Spurs, like it's unheard of to think of, oh yeah, Aston Villa, they're comfortable for 4th. They're going to beat Spurs. They're going to beat Manchester United to 4th. It's very, very odd saying that out loud. And unfortunately, it's not just Salim saying that. After he normally says it every damn season, but now he can say it with chest and then leave to go and play with Hugo. Not a fan at all. But yeah, thanks for the comment there, Cairo, as well. Right then, before we get on to the latter part of our, actually, we've got 2 questions today that we've been challenged with, I should say. So if I get the question up as well, forgot what it was. One of the questions, Sarah, was quite funny because I'm looking at it and I'm thinking I'm pretty sure we've answered this question already, but I'll ask the other question first. One question we had today for our live stream was, what is your feel-good story of the Premier League season so far? Because when it gets to feel-good stories, we'll go on like a proper podcast about this as well. In the Premier League, is there a feel-good story that you've seen? Because Aston Villa has been a very good feel-good story, but I think Mikel Arteta may have hit the nail on the head. Luton Town being in the Premier League was a very, very good feel-good story because everyone and their mothers were saying Liverpool are going to dominate against Luton, Man United are going to dominate against Luton, Arsenal are going to dominate against Luton, the whole Premier League is going to dominate against Luton, and Luton Town will be relegated. But they're still fighting very, very well outside that bottom 3 as well. They are still looking like they can survive the Premier League relegation drop as well. And I think that's a fantastic story from my point of view as well. Not my obvious choice, but I wanted to get your thoughts on how Luton have actually done quite well in their first season in the Premier League, because we tend to skip over a lot of these teams who look to survive their first season in the Premier League. Let's see your thoughts, Sarah.
Yeah, I think with Luton, if they manage to stay up, that's going to be the best feel-good story, and they deserve to. I'm a bit frustrated that they're still fighting for relegation, but they're only 3 points from behind Forest, so anything is possible. We got 9 games left. I'm hoping that they can get it done because I think that would be one of the stories of the season. Like that's incredible. So I think it is a feel-good story, but I think we need them to stay up for it to really hit because they so deserve to. And like Kenilworth Road too, this stadium, iconic. It was becoming famous before the season started for how small it is and the houses built behind. Like it's such a beautiful story. And you're like, I want to support this team because they're the underdogs. Like everyone's kind of a Luton fan, right? All of a sudden.
Definitely the definition of an underdog in this story as well, because you're looking at all the Premier League teams that have been promoted recently, and not many of them have had to spend most of their budget from being promoted into a Premier League on stadium renovations like Luton Town had to do as well. And it's crazy the amount of players that they've brought in on such a budget that they've had to actually compete in this Premier League. And remember, last season in the Championship, Vincent Kompany's Burnley were the talk of the town. They were being praised left, right, and centre for their amazing style of play. And they're below them at the moment in time. And they're not doing great as well with Burnley, but we won't have to mention Burnley at all as well. But my feel-good story, if I have to think of a feel-good story, can I think of a feel-good story off the top of my head?
I was like one of the feel-good stories, but it's not Premier League related. It's like football related, but it has to be Sebastian Haller, right?
Yeah, it's always got like Sebastian Haller, former
Forever. Sebastian Haller every year. Like
every year for what he did. You're looking
yeah.
at it and you're just like, this is crazy. And we're going to see him in a quarterfinal of the Champions League as well, which is absolutely incredible. And
So
that
it's
was
still going. So it is a feel-good story. Fine, keep it. It's not Premier League related, but
it's not Premier League related, but we're keeping it in. We're keeping it in for Sebastian Haller overcoming cancer, getting back into professional football, signing for Borussia Dortmund. No, he was already at Borussia Dortmund, but getting back into the Borussia Dortmund first team, getting called up for the Ivory Coast African Cup of Nations squad, winning the African Cup of Nations in his home country, scoring the winning goal. Damn. Yeah. If that isn't a feel-good story, I don't know what is, because I think we literally just hit the nail on the head there as well, which is great to see as well. But I'm looking at him thinking there's so much more we can go through. A proper podcast we could do in terms of best underdog stories. That could be an episode as well, which would be good. Man United are no longer considered an underdog, in my opinion as well. They should be up there competing for bigger trophies, but they're not. Final question of our live stream today, Sarah, is who is the most entertaining footballer in the Premier League to watch and why?
In terms of skill and technique and talent, or in terms of just being hilarious on social media?
Like... No, we're not talking about Neil Maupay here. Definitely not talking about Neil Maupay at all. That guy, he's got a really good admin. He's definitely not doing that himself. He hasn't got the creativity to do that, from my opinion as well. No, I'm thinking, let's improvise.
Okay, let's go through some of the teams, because I think, I mean, off the top of your head, right now.
No, I've got an idea. I've got an idea. You've given me a great idea. Go through the table 1 to 20, and if you can think of one entertaining player per club. Let's see how it goes. So we'll do it in an alternate mode. So I'll give you a name, then I would say the second name, third, fourth, like that.
Okay.
So, starting off with you've got Arsenal. Most entertaining player for Arsenal, and why?
Ooh, there's a bunch. There's so many. I mean, I feel like you'd have to say Bukayo Saka, wouldn't you? Like, I find, oh, you don't like Saka. Isn't that who you are? It's not you.
Nah, it's not that. I'm thinking, is he entertaining to watch, or is he just entertaining as a play? Nah.
Yeah, maybe it's like getting the wires crossed there. I mean, for me, like a player like William Saliba it's a weird thing to say, but he's not entertaining as he's flashy. He's a defender. But I find him so entertaining to watch because he's so good. Like
his box office as a centre back is fantastic.
It's fantastic, right? Like I think just watching him alone is so interesting, especially not being a defender, that I'm like, oh my, like I look at that and I'm like, how do you do that? How are you able to read a player so well? So I think he's really good to watch. I mean, I feel like
you've got Saka, Saliba. Who's your third one for Arsenal?
On a good day, Gabriel Martinelli is an absolute dream to watch, but he hasn't really been. He's not the Gabriel Martinelli that I wish he was from last season still.
Yeah, that's true.
Dancing twinkle toes over here. Whereas this
challenged
year,
by Leandro Trossard a lot as well this season.
Yeah. I don't know. Between those three, it's weird that I want to kind of say William Saliba as the number one there. What's or are you not picking an answer? We're just going back and forth.
We'll go back and forth. So I've got Liverpool now, and Liverpool. If I've got to pick three to go through, one of them barely plays, but this is me, because basically I've been called out numerous times for thinking centre midfield is the most entertaining position on the football pitch for me. But that's because my point of view is when you've got a footballer who can see the whole pitch, who's got the whole 360 vision of a football pitch, I find that so entertaining because he's got control of the entire game if it's on his game. So I would have put Thiago in that list as well. I really like him. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
You're talking to a Barca fan here. We still think about Thiago.
And a Spanish fan as well.
Yeah, no, I miss him so much. Again, another player where I think his career could have really kicked off. Still not a bad career, but could have done so much more. But the injuries, man, just
Yeah,
demolished
it's
him.
so inconsistent with the injuries, but a fantastic player nevertheless, and so consistent with his ball retention, his possession on the ball, his technical ability. Big credit to Thiago Alcantara. Annoyingly, I have to say, one of my favorite Liverpool players, as well, which ain't great. Second, I'm gonna have to go for Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think is absolutely fantastic. The
Yeah,
way that he can pass
vision.
the ball, yeah, his distribution is crazy. I want to see him play as a midfielder going forward after Jurgen Klopp leaves. I'm wondering who the next manager of Liverpool will be and how he gets the best out of Trent Alexander-Arnold again. Third one, I'm very disappointed by Cody Gakpo, so I can't say him. He was fantastic at PSV Eindhoven, but he just hasn't
Yeah.
settled in, unfortunately. He's fantastic at the World Cup as well, before I forget,
Surely
for
you have to
Netherlands.
say Darwin Nunez, no? Because you just never know what you're gonna get. But he keeps you on your toes.
It's true. Darwin. Then again, we're forgetting about Mohamed Salah as well. Mohamed
Oh,
Salah's been
yeah.
doing it. The little dance has been doing it for what, 6 years in the Premier League now as well. So Mohamed
Yeah.
Salah has to make it into my top three.
Yeah.
I saved you the best one. Manchester City. Let's say your top three.
Yeah, well, let's give Phil Foden that shout that he so deservingly needs and deserves. Like I said at the beginning of the show, this guy he's just been brilliant this season, getting better and better. And like I said, plays like he has some sort of South American swagger to him. And he's definitely one of the best players to watch at City this season. So fun, so entertaining, so exciting. And number two is, I don't care. It's Kevin De Bruyne. Has to be. I don't care that he hasn't played half the season because when he plays, it's brilliant. And he just, again, like Trent Alexander-Arnold in the sense of distribution, like he can see players before players can even get there. It's
Exactly.
it's incredible. And number three, it's my guy Rodri.
I knew you were going to say Rodri. You
I
can't
had
leave
to
Rodri
say
out at all.
Rodri.
You
What are you
can't leave
talking?
Rodri out at all. You can have someone who can do skills like Jeremy Doku, but it's not exciting to watch if you do a couple of step overs. And that's the way it is these days because a lot of footballers who can do step overs and flary tricks and stuff, they're not all that because they're not world class anymore. You don't see many world class
Like
wingers
they
who can
don't
do that.
finish
Yeah,
or they get the
exactly.
ball poked off them because they hold it for too long trying to do all this, all these step overs and dragging the ball out to the, and then you're just like, you just pass, like just release.
Just get the ball in the box and get it in the net. That's what we like to
Yeah,
see.
yeah. Jeremy Doku
2020,
like hasn't
20
lived up to his hype at City so far. Lost
so
it.
far. Yeah,
Yeah.
lots to go through as well. Aston Villa, entertainment. Gonna be painful to say this, but entertain. Actually, no. Leon Bailey, Musa Diaby, and probably third, I'd have to say John McGinn.
Yeah.
Musa Diaby's getting into his own now at Aston Villa. I'm loving this, and there's going to be a firecracker of a players to watch come the
It's
end of the
not Dibu
season.
Martinez.
Nah, nah. Not Emiliano Martinez as well, and not Douglas Luiz, despite his awful celebration against Man United earlier this season as well when he scored against. Yeah, he scored. He did that shimmy celebration. I'm like, yeah, that is very very odd. Quite entertaining for Aston Villa fans, but not for me as well. But I think with Leon Bailey as well, the fact that he's finally settled into Premier League football is great to see, and I think there will be some teams that will be looking at him in the summer as well because he had that topic of conversation on a podcast, I think in Jamaica, where he was talking about, oh yeah, I want to move to a big club in the Premier League, and he has to then retract his statement saying, oh no, I didn't mean it like that. I'm like, sure you did, as well.
Listen, I'm sure everyone does. It's only natural. Like you can't fault the player. Come on for saying something like that.
Yeah, it's true. It's just the ambition of a footballer as well, wanting to be the best, as well, which you've got. Right, so now you've got Tottenham, I've got Man United, and then I think we'll both do West Ham United, and I think we'll be good from there. Top three Tottenham players who are entertaining for you to watch and why.
Okay, well, this player I know you don't like because now I remembered, but it has to be Sunny because
Son.
I think
Entertaining for faking injuries. Yeah, that's why I find him very entertaining.
out of town. I think it's been really great to see Son kind of come out of Harry Kane's shadow and really step up to that plate and continue to play well and stay healthy and go to Asia and make that run too. I really think it's been good for him. It's a bit of a
Whilst being
change.
the captain and having his best goal scoring season for 3 years as well. Absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic for Son.
Like a lot of transition, and he's managed it so well, and his finishes are just class. Like he gets it in the back of the net no matter where he is, and he's so reliable for Tottenham. And
I just need the next Bayern Munich manager to sign him so you can reunite Son and Kane at Bayern
yeah,
Munich as well. That'd be, and Eric Dyer would still be there as well. That'd be fantastic to see. But Son is a clear shout for number one as well. Who's number two for you, Sarah?
I don't know. There's a couple players that come to mind. You can think of, well, I mean, Vicario alone, just being what he's done this season has been so.
I would agree. I would agree. He's a box office goalkeeper. When you're watching him, it's fantastic on in the air as well for a player who's just come into the Premier League. Is absolutely fantastic as well
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah, so I'd probably say him just because I also think he was not a nobody, but to maybe a lot of neutrals, a nobody, and all of a sudden he's one of the maybe best keepers in the Premier League. He's
Absolutely.
he's been brilliant. And again, it's like, it's a transitional team. You come in, you don't know what you're going to get, and you're just giving everything and really making a name for yourself. I think he's been brilliant.
Truly a contender for goalkeeper of the season in the Premier League as well. So it's been fantastic in that way as well.
I think he has to get it. No?
I'm looking at the others and I'm thinking it can't be Raya. It can't be. It could be Martinez for me. I think Emil Martinez has been fantastic as well. But Vicario looks like a really good uh, number one contender for Premier League goalkeeper of the season.
David Raya is the most clean sheets in the Premier League.
Yeah, but it's boring. This is very, very boring.
Isn't that like you hear that and you're like, oh, what? There was
Yeah.
a whole goalkeeper debacle at Arsenal not too long ago, and now you have the best.
It's probably still going on as well. It's just the media like to create the narrative. Oh, Aaron Ramsdale wasn't clapping for David Raya. Why is that?
Yeah,
Sometimes when he is clapping, it's a story as well. But David Raya's been Mr. Consistent for Arsenal. But he's still not as comfortable on the ball for me compared to Vicario as well. That's a good
yeah,
topic for our future combined 11 for Arsenal and Tottenham, which would be good fun indeed. Got to
yeah.
get Travis's opinion for that one as well. But Vicario or Raya. Let's see who people go for as the goalkeeper of the season in the comments. Great. Manchester United. Entertaining footballers.
Do you
When
know
I
what?
go,
Don't say any of them because that would probably equal out to what the season has been.
it's true. I'm trying to think when I'm at Old Trafford and I'm watching a game, who do I look forward to watching the most? I think number one, if yeah, from a Man United point of view, the most entertaining players for me to watch this season has got to be Alejandro Garnacho, number one for me. Having him on the wing, on both wings now, so comfortable on the right and on the left, and he can take on a play. He's got an X factor about him. He can slow down the game as well from the wing, and he's got a really good cross and a shot on him from both feet, which is great to see. He's very selfish at times, which I'm not really a big fan of because there are sometimes he can lay off to Højlund or he can lay off to Rashford, and he doesn't because he does go for glory at times. But when you do see the glory, like the Everton overhead kick, or you're looking at the assist to Rasmus Højlund as well, or the assist to Rashford in these comebacks that we've had, the assist to Amad Diallo was fantastic as well in the FA Cup. There is a showman. There is a showman in Alejandro Garnacho, and I'm looking forward to seeing so much more of it. It's just about if he continues to work at this rate for Manchester United, because we've seen previously at Man United that there's been a lot of young players that come through, but they don't continue to stay at the same level because we burn them out so much by playing them so much. And you say it all the time as well, Sarah. When you see Garnacho play, he's dead on his feet by 75 minutes because he's always playing, he's always starting. It's always very difficult for him as well. So I think Garnacho number one for me.
That's a good shout. Yeah. Who's number 2 and 3? Because I have two in mind, but I'm curious to see if they match up.
Two, Rasmus Højlund for me. Got to go for
Yeah.
Rasmus Højlund. He's been an absolute Rasmus Højlund has been a revelation this season. Just absolutely fantastic to watch, and big fan of him settling into this Manchester United side as well. Number 3, entertaining footballer. You know what? I'm gonna have to go. It's gonna be odd when I say it, but it's gonna have to be Scott McTominay. I find him entertaining to watch. He's meant to be like a boring number 6 midfielder holding the midfield down, but he's not. He gets in challenges, he gets in to score goals. He may not have the best of games, but he'll win the game for Manchester United as well. And we're seeing more of that this season from Scott McTominay, which is great to see. So yeah, Garnacho, Højlund, Scott McTominay.
Maybe by the end of the season, Kobe Maino.
Maybe. And maybe it should really be Anthony. It should really be Marcus Rashford. And it should really be Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes has too much responsibility as a captain now to run around the pitch and not get out from tackles to try and win fouls, which isn't a great thing at all, as well. Number 7 is West Ham United. You have to say this Ghanaian footballer's name, Sarah. You have to say it.
There's three that come to mind immediately, but I think we're both thinking of Mohamed Kudus.
Yes, we are. We are. We're thinking of Mohammed. I mean, trying to steal the stool from the ball boy for his celebration against Newcastle. He's just going to look for. I think Premier League ball boys are just going to be scared for what they're going to be sitting on these days as well with his celebrations. Absolutely fantastic. And the fact he still does that, I find it fantastic to watch. And the way he runs, the way he's got so much power when he's running the first 5-10 yards as well. It's a fantastic sight to see with Mohamed Kudus as well. And I think he's going to go into bigger and better things in the Premier League as well, respectively. But your thoughts on Mohamed Kudus as well, Sarah?
Yeah, no, I hope so as well. It's one of those players that it's now or never to kind of make that move to a bit of a bigger club with respect to West Ham and really see if you can pull more out of this player and they can really shine and kind of fulfill that talent that they might have. It was a bit upsetting. We obviously know when he went to AFCON and we all had high hopes, but luckily he came back and still proved to be the same Mohamed Kudus. Maybe the time change and the travel messed with him a bit.
All his Ghanaian teammates just didn't get up to his level. They weren't up to his standard at all.
Ghana in general was very upsetting to watch because I think a lot of people assumed that they would go a lot further and they did not.
It was very painful watching that Ghana side at the AFCON as well. You said we've got 3 for West Ham, so Mohamed Kudus is in there. Who else have you got in your top 3 for West Ham?
Gotta guess the second one now.
I'm going to guess it.
Yeah, well, I said Mohamed Kudus. I have 3.
I'm going to guess Jared Bowen's got to be in there.
Yeah, J-Bo. Of course he does. What a guy.
Is that your official nickname for Jared Bowen? J-Bo?
I just made it up. Like I know him.
It's just my boy J-Bo. You know, he plays for West Ham. He's a goal scorer. It's fantastic. He plays for England as well.
Such a long day.
My boy J-Bo. I love it. It's great. Nah, J-Bo's got to be in there as well. I mean, he's got to be assuring for the England national side as well. And he just continues to bring so much energy to West Ham United. And you would think with Jared Bowen, he'd want to move to a more attacking team as well because he's counter-attacking every single damn time and he's got so much energy about him. You want to see him in a bigger club as well, which would be great as well. I think we're just saying this about all West Ham players, but Jared Bowen has got to be someone who's looking to leave West Ham in the summer as well. Number 3, who have you got, Sarah?
James Ward-Prowse. I think that he is so underrated. I think if he was
tell that to Travis. Travis said James Ward-Prowse should go to the Euros for England. I'm like, no way. And he's like,
I think there's a good shout for that. Honestly, I think honestly, England at this point, like you need 3 planes. Like there's too many players, and I get that. Oh, it's such a problem to have all this talented, this talented team. But I do think actually it's kind of getting to a point now where people are just missing out, and it's so unfair. But there's nothing.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka, especially Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Get out of here. But no, I think if James Ward-Prowse was playing for a bigger side, I think people would be raving about him. I think it's because he plays for West Ham and maybe people aren't watching him as much, or they're looking at West Ham thinking, okay, middle of the table, club. But I think he's so talented, and I think he's just a very calm, collected player too. Like he just has vision again, like some of these other midfielders we've spoken about. But I really think that Travis saying he has a shout to get on that plane to Germany I don't think that's wrong.
Yeah, it's true. Because you're looking at Ward-Prowse, and I think loyalty may have cost him his career in a way, because spending all that time at Southampton to move to West Ham in one season, and now is playing really good football with West Ham United. But it's a different style of play than what he was used to at West Ham. But it's still not scoring the free kicks like he used to at West Ham. Is still not assisting as he used to like he did at Southampton, but he's playing better all round in his 90 minutes of football in his game as well, which is great to see from an England perspective. But we're gonna have to wait and see if that can be something where Gareth Southgate does take into account we need James Ward-Prowse at the European Championships as well, which should be.
I can't wait to see this England squad, by the way. It's usually it's going to be announced probably the first week of June or the second week of June, maybe.
Yeah, so around the FA Cup final, like the last weekend of the domestic season or so, that'll be the case with the England squad. And you've got so many players that will be missing out, and you have these reaction videos, and we'll make a reaction video as well. Be like, oh my God, how dare this player not get into the side? And you're just like, this is crazy.
Well, also, like, who's going to get injured before then? And hopefully no one, but I mean, you never know.
There's always someone. There's always someone.
Oh, there's always someone.
Which is not nice. Right. Anyone else from the Premier League, Sarah, that you think is a very entertaining player to watch, that you've watched this season, thought, you know what, he's a baller?
I'm just going through the teams and seeing if well, I mean, shouts to Cole Palmer for being Chelsea's saving grace this season.
Where would Chelsea be without Cole
They
Palmer?
would be fighting for relegation. I said it today on my show, and I'm saying it again, and I stand by it. If it wasn't for Cole Palmer, Chelsea would be fighting for relegation. Clip it.
Amen. Yeah. Why did I say amen? I'm not Christian. I mean, that's the Muslim thing to say. But yeah. I'd back Cole Palmer being one of the players of the season to watch. And he is a fantastic player to watch. And I think Chelsea are literally going to be extending their ticket prices because people just want to watch the Cole Palmer show. Chelsea is the Cole Palmer show at the end of the day. And Malo Gusto was a fantastic player to watch until he got injured for Chelsea at right back as well. And besides that, all of their younger players, Mudryk is hit and miss so far. I don't mind Mudryk, but he's not there yet. Nico Jackson, not really entertaining, but his celebrations can be entertaining at times, which ain't great at all for opposition fans. But Cole Palmer is a shining light for Chelsea. He is the redeemer of West London for Chelsea when you're looking at it as well, which
Yeah.
is crazy to think about as well. I'm looking through the rest of the Premier League from my point of view. Pedro Neto for Wolverhampton Wanderers, I think is an absolutely fantastic player to watch. And I'm looking Morgan Gibbs White for Nottingham Forest is okay. Don't mind him at all.
Dominic
Yeah.
Solanke. Give Solanke his flowers.
Justin Clivert the other day as well. He was fantastic. Son of
Hey.
Patrick Clivert. That's the one other podcast I'll put to do. Father and sons in professional football.
Oh, can you imagine? That would be so heartwarming, I feel.
That was crazy as well. Who else we got? Michael Elise for Crystal Palace. I think it's fantastic.
Sure.
I like him as a winger. But it goes to show that as a ending comment from me, it goes to show that a lot of the entertainers now in football are no longer the showmen of previous years where they could score and they could assist and they could hold their team going forward in the Premier League as well. We saw so many showmen once upon a time. We did a 2-hour podcast, I think, a couple months ago. We did a 2-hour podcast on the Champions League greatest showman, but the Premier League showman for this season, it's quite scarce actually when you're thinking about it because it's more technical based. It's more if they get the goals, if they get the assists, but it's not in terms of flair because a lot of the flair players, like we mentioned about Jeremy Doku, Anthony, for example, as well, they can do all the skills they want, but they're not doing anything good for their team, which isn't beneficial for their team as well. And it's not respectful in a way as well, from my point of view. What do you think, Sarah?
No, I agree. I even think you could take it up another level. Like you have the Anthonys and the Dokus who don't finish, but then you have a player like Erling Haaland who does. But if you're asking me who I'd rather watch, probably wouldn't watch Haaland over, maybe someone like Phil Foden right now, today, to change. But or like, I mean, the age-old question, Mbappe or Haaland? Of course I'd rather watch Mbappe because I think he can do much more with the ball than just score, So I think it depends on who you're asking. Because I think if you're asking someone like us, who we live and breathe football, we were constantly watching it across all leagues, we can really appreciate the skill that comes with doing things without the ball, off the ball.
And playing it as well. We play on a regular basis as well still.
Exactly. And then, for a neutral, for someone here just for a good time, love that. But they probably love the Holland, players, the goal scorers, maybe the Jeremy Dokus and stuff too. So I think it depends on who you're asking and to each their own, listen. But I do think I agree with you. I think if you're asking more of like the really die-hard football fans, they do love, the players that are doing a lot more than just the showmanship.
I agree because there will be a time I reckon there will be a time within the next 5 years when there'll be a lot more showmen who come into football and they will be the ones that stand out because it's kind of dying out now and then it will just lift back up straight away. The type of players like Jamal Musiala or Florian Wirtz, Vinicius Jr., they'll be shining a lot more because a lot more people would just be more very basic, very safe footballers, and that's where I think football is going. We're going to see a lot more of them coming soon. It's going to be a patient wait, but we're going to wait for the right players to come through and to shine as well, which will be great indeed.
Can't wait.
I can't wait indeed. But yes, everyone, thank you very much for watching the live stream. Thank you very much for the comments as well. It's been fantastic as well. Big thank you to Salim for joining us on the live stream to react to Aston Villa's disappointing defeat against Manchester City. But with that team, it was a valiant effort nevertheless. And big thank you once again to Sarah Pararia for another great conversation, as always, which is great. Thank you very much again. Take care, and we'll see you later. Goodbye.